All right, so here's part two, my $500,000 divorce. It was actually a lot more. And I'm going to kind of walk you through what I learned from it. And if you're going through a separation or a divorce, how this can potentially help you out as well. And you don't have to go through all the pain that I actually went through. So here we go. All right, so the first thing is what I learned is judges cannot go into your bank account and just take money before an order. In my head, I didn't know that. So there was a lot of stress between attorneys and everything else. So what happened is I was married for 15 plus years. I have two boys. Now they're 23 and 17. They were not at that time. They were very young. Well, one of them was pretty young, like 10 years old. The other one just turned 18. And I was about to graduate at that time. This was December of 2019. And so when the separation happened, that turned into then later on a divorce. Yeah, I was stressed out. So I'm going to go over some of these lessons as well. So number one, judges can't just jump into your bank account. And just to give you a backstory, if you didn't listen to part one of this, which is actually on my Facebook page somewhere or YouTube, is that during this entire process, I was thrown into 4 different court systems. So I have a very unique look, and I'm a real estate developer. I was not then, I was a real estate investor. But I was thrown into all the different court systems, which is, I didn't even know there was a thing called, there's civil court, there's criminal court, there's family court, and then there's the EV court as well. I didn't know any of this beforehand. Okay. But all 4 courts I was in for almost five years, give or take, on all the different court systems. So, and then for about a year, I was actually per se as well, meaning I was my own attorney because I ran out of money during this time frame as well. So let me go back to it. So number one, judges can't just jump into your bank account. They need some kind of order. I didn't understand that. Number two, lawyers are not your friends. They get paid hourly. So they can act like they're friends. And sometimes the attorneys won't even tell you that, one, they're not a divorce attorney. Okay. So I didn't know that either. I thought all attorneys were attorneys, right? I didn't know that there were different specialties. There's contract law. Well, now I know this, but I didn't know there's business contract law that attorneys specialize in. There's eminent domain attorneys specialize in, or there's civil engineers, or civil side, that they specialize in. There's criminal that they specialize in. Family court is a different court. All these different courts has different specialties, and you actually have to really research and almost interview every single one of them. And they're all going to pressure you when it comes down to their hourly rate or what they charge. And you don't even know how they're charging. It's just this wool over your eyes that you're like, okay, this is interesting. But they're not your friends because a lot of them get paid hourly. And even if they get paid hourly, you need to keep your costs down because your emotions is the highest when you're dealing with your family, your kids, your wife, somebody that you trusted for a very long time. For me, it was 15 plus years. And at that exact same time, I was a part of a men's Bible study. And in that men's Bible study, it was a 5 men's Bible study. And during that time frame, we had one of them, his name was Corey at the time. He was going through a divorce right before my separation. And I still remember to this day, we were at his office, we're praying over him. He's crying. He's going through it. And he was a good friend. He was like a legit friend. I knew him for 10 plus years. Later on during the separation, I found out that he was actually then with my wife at the time, because she was still my wife. And we talked. I actually called him about it because I was shocked that I discovered this. And I was just like, and then he was talking about, oh, he's going to get married to her. And I was like, I don't even know what this, everything that you can think of as a man was going through my head. I would just say that, I'm prior military. I did go to war, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Enduring Freedom. And yeah, I don't even know. It's like, I remember that. And I was like, it still brings up, and I just finished working out. So anyway, let's digress. So you could only imagine my back felt like a machete was in it. Right. And, but I had to move on because at the same time too, it was not a great situation. And I would say if you're in a bad situation, if you're watching this right now, and you're going through a bad situation with your spouse, man or female, number one, don't say the word D word. If you're going to say the word D word, the divorce, it's probably going to start heading that direction. Start planning for it now, right? Number two is when it comes down to if there's any kind of violence at all, it only gets worse if you allow it. And meaning, if you allow it, you need to leave. Somebody needs to leave. And it may be uncomfortable, but you've got to get used to being uncomfortable if you're going through a separation or divorce. And again, if a real estate, I'm always talking about real estate stuff. So I'm not even apologizing. It's just like if 50% of the world is going through a separation or a divorce. It is what it is. So hopefully this hits home to somebody and this could help. Because I really went through it and I've got the receipts. The other thing is, because I didn't understand that the 4 court systems is, I didn't understand every single court system is completely different case law, different rules as well. And sometimes you have to hire different attorneys for each one. I was thrown into it, meaning anybody could sue anybody, right? Even on the family side. So you could be in family court, but if they take you to a different county in a different section of the court. So then I was in Polk County. Then they threw me into Hillsborough County under a different court system, civil, and suing me for something that they were exactly attempting to say on the family side. I was getting sued on a civil side on a different county, right? So I was like, you got to be kidding me. But if you're getting sued, you have to respond, right? All this stuff, I made it through, obviously, and it's all good. I'm not complaining. I'm just showcasing with you what I would do and what I learned from it. The other thing is, number one, for a full year, I was actually my own attorney. You can be per se. It's PROSE. You're allowed to do that in any of the court systems, other than if you have a property in a land trust. That's about it. And I learned that too. But everything else, you could actually be your own attorney. So you've got to file your own motions. I did that. You've got to set up with the JA. That means the judge's secretary. You actually have to set up what they call pre-conference meetings or pre-conference court, right? Like this is where they go over your case to make sure it's going to move forward and to make sure that you get all the proper paperwork, and then they give you a court date. But you have to coordinate with the other attorney as well. So you're doing all this coordination. Remember, the other attorney is attempting to get you emotional, because family court is the only, what I've learned is the only one that you get super emotional about. Typically, attorneys in general, they know that. And sometimes you've got some really great ones. I was very blessed. I had a lot of different attorneys, and my last family attorney was amazing. Christine Thornhill, based out of Polk County. She was amazing, awesome. And she's just flat out, she has a heart of gold. And there's very few attorneys. And probably if you're a great attorney like that, great, leave a comment. You could, awesome. Not too many attorneys are, what I found. And I get it. They got to make a living. So I totally get it. So, but you don't want to hemorrhage money, because what's going to come up is all these different court systems take a lot of money. So you could start hemorrhaging it really fast with no end in sight. So your goal is to get it over with as quickly as possible, rip off the Band-Aid. One of the best advice that I got was from a business attorney, one of my business consultants, And he said, look at your suitcase. Look at your carry-on suitcase. And I was like, all right, I'm looking at it. And he said, look, if that's all you got in this entire marriage, in this entire divorce, entire everything, you got to be okay with that. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Now I'm going to remind you, at the time, I was in the nicest gated community in the city of Lakeland. We're in Polk County. I was a big deal to me. Spanish Mediterranean home, it was 3,800 square feet with a movie theater room. So all the sound system throughout. I had my dream car. I was living my best life, I would say. It was amazing. And on paper, it looked, it was awesome. I'm not complaining about it. Going from that to then living in my car, then living in a hotel room, to then all my stuff gone, not even thinking about it. I didn't have access to it. I just had that. And then I lived at a friend's garage for a while as well, and other people's couches as well. It was it was interesting. It was an adventure. Thank God I was used to being in the military, so I was kind of used to being uncomfortable. But this is kind of what it is. So you have to make sure what I learned was during this time frame, there's 4 major things that I go by when I was going through this. Number one, I had to make sure I had integrity in everything I do. For in the Bible, it says, for the righteous man has the ear of God. And when I was a general's aide in the military, I realized having the ear of the general was a really big deal. My general was General Summerall at the time. And I talked to him every day. Like John Summer, I literally like, we had conversations every day, and I could see now as I got older, I was like, man, having his ear was a really big deal. Even meeting General Tommy Franks back in the day too. And I even met the President Bush at that time. And so what I learned was having integrity, doing the right thing, even when nobody's looking, is huge. The other thing is having no ego, ever. Kill the ego. I had an ego in court a couple times because I was like, oh, she's not going to take away my kids. She's not going to do that. And it's ego kills creativity. Ego kills, it slows things down. In your head, you think you're going quick, but you've got to let go. Are you committed or attached? That's how I look at it. Are you committed or attached? If you're committed, then you know everything's going to work out. If you're attached, that means it has to happen your way when you say it. It's not going to work. Tell me how that always works out. Ever. Never. The other thing is, make sure that you have great love in everything you're doing. Give her more than what she deserves. That's fine. That's fine. Because I looked at it like, do I believe in God or not? Do I believe in all of the scriptures that I read? Because at that time, then I was kind of lost spiritually. So I studied everything. I studied obviously the Bible, then I studied the Ethiopian Bible, all the books that were actually in the Bible that were later voted out. Whatever, it is what it is. I read the Quran as well, and I read all the similarities, that the same exact like a lot of the stories that are in the Bible are actually in the Quran. I never even knew that. The story of Job, story of Moses, Jesus is in there. I didn't know that. I read about Hinduism. I read about Buddhism. I didn't even know that Buddhism is not even a religion. It's just a way of thought. It's kind of like if Tony Robbins wrote a book and then they called it the Robin Hood, whatever. Like I didn't even know that. Hinduism, I didn't know about. All these different spirituality, I didn't really deep dive until then, because I thought I was losing my mind. I thought like, oh my God, I'm coming from being a dad that every single morning I am making breakfast for the kids. I'm working out with my kids. I'm baseball coach, basketball coach, wrestling. I'm everything with my kids. I'm cooking dinner for my wife, cooking breakfast for my wife. I'm the breadwinner at the same time. I am, planning vacations. I make sure everybody's fed, even when we go somewhere. I pre-do all the meals. Like, I'm not attempting to brag at all. I'm just sharing I enjoyed that. Just FYI, like, my love language is acts of service. I absolutely love it. So this is not poo-pooing my ex-wife. It wasn't for her, I wouldn't never be a developer. I would have never had that drive. I would have never been where I am right now. So I'm beyond grateful, because I learned so much. And so much, just FYI, in development is law. So if you really want to get a legal class, you're going to have to get it in development no matter what. Because in real estate at the higher levels, like right now we're doing a waste campus, which is 288 acres. We're doing a 108 acre veteran housing development. We're getting a rail spur line in one of our property. Like, all this stuff is legal, just FYI. Okay, now let me bring it back. So make sure you have integrity, make sure you have no ego, make sure you have great love in everything you do, and make sure you're aware and you have gratitude in all of it. Make sure you're aware, you're seeing everything, you're aware. Like, I'm super grateful I got AC, because there was a time frame during this time frame that I remember sleeping and I had no AC. And I was like, God, ain't that super uncomfortable? Jesus, thank you, Lord, for us being in America and AC is a thing, right? Or us having clean water and drinking it. Like, I'm beyond grateful, because I went through a time in my 40s. I just wanted to let you know, like, I was in my 40s going through this, okay? I wasn't 20. I was 40. So I've been through life, right? These gray hairs are, Jesus Lord, they're real, okay? I got it. So that divorce is just divorcing your past, because you're moving forward in a way that you never thought. But you're just killing your old self. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like grade school. You're only going to graduate. You're only going to be able to graduate and go to 6th grade if you actually pass 5th grade. So I just look at it like this time frame. I got to graduate a very hard time, but I'm going to level up. And I have leveled up in a huge way. So I am grateful. The other thing is parental alienation is real. What that means is basically if one parent starts stating to another child or whatever and starts kind of like pulling that child away from you or holding them back, even if you have parental rights, right? So you can, in the state of Florida, if you live here, it's an automatic 50%, but you got to get your parenting plan in ASAP. So make sure and use this app called Talking Parent. So if you're going through a separation, you could actually immediately start using Talking Parent. That basically just filters out a lot of the crap. Just have everything in writing. My recommendation, if you're going through this, make sure you're journaling, meditating. Physical fitness is huge. Make sure that you're eating clean and eating right. Meditate every single day. The difference between prayer and meditation: prayer is when you're talking to God. Meditation is when you shut your mouth and you listen to God. Whatever creator that you believe in is fine, whatever. There's no judgment, because the judgment comes from the Lord anyway. That's even what the Bible says. So for my biggest thing is just get your mind right, get your body right, get your spirit right. You're going to need all of it for this challenge that you're about to go through, because it is a battleground. It's a battleground here more than anything else. Especially if there's another party involved that you even know. Like for me, I knew that person intimately. That person knew me intimately. Like we were in the same Bible study for years. So it really cut deep for a while. And especially, my wife as well. We're going through a separation, but you always have better. You're like, all right, we can improve. We can work this out. And it is what it is. It did not. So the other thing as well, parental alienation is real. And all you could do is file for contempt. File for contempt, and that's it. There's nothing else that you could do about it. Just file for contempt, move on, and just be the consistent, steadfast parent. That's it. Just be as consistent and steadfast as you possibly can, period. There's nothing else I can say about that. The other thing as well is get closure as quickly as you can, but as slow as possible, if that makes sense. Work on you, because you can't blame her or him about anything. I get it. Life happens, but if you're blaming, that means that you're not taking full responsibility for your own actions, meaning it's still your life. But you're like, Franklin, that person hit me, or that person, there was violence or whatever. I get it. I actually really, really, really get it. You could even have video footage of it. Totally get it. But you got to let it go. Because you've got to have closure and be like, everything is working for me, not to me. Everything is happening in a positive way, not a negative way. It's almost like when you get that feeling like to turn left and you should have turned right, but then you find out, like, if you would have turned right, there was a huge car accident and you could have been involved in it. It's one of those things, like, it's all going to work out. Everything is working for you, not to you. So it will work out. You just don't know how, and you don't know when. The other thing is, don't forget, get that parenting plan ASAP. And moving on, and you're now going to level up. Be the best you could ever be. Prior to the divorce, actually, was always clean shave. I never knew I could actually grow a beard ever. And then after, like, a couple of years ago, my son was like, "Well, Dad, why don't you grow a beard?" So it's like reinventing yourself, growing out my hair. I never actually grew out my hair ever in my whole life. And I was like, why not? What's the worst going to happen? It's just like all these little things. I never was in development, never in commercial development, never into all these things. And, so it's like, this is awesome, and then, yes, there will be ups and downs. Yes. Just do your best to make things right with people, communicate with them. If you owe people money, that, I didn't know I was giving her properties, but I didn't know that the court would then say, hey, she's given these properties, but you're going to have to pay all the mortgages on them. I was like, what? They have a mortgage. So she gets it free and clear, but I got to pay. Like, how does that? It is what it is. Whatever. It's all going to work out. So I would say, again, to kind of recap, close out everything as quickly as you can. Be okay with just a suitcase. Have a parenting plan if you can, as quickly as you can. Be the best version of you. This is your reinventing stage of your life as well. And you will become 10 times better. I could just share with you what I went through is that I went from doing residential houses to literally the week that we were separated, that I found a house on 9 acres. I was able to convert that house from 1 house to 25 houses to 41 houses I finally got it approved for. Sold it to KB Homes for $1.25 million. Then they turned around and named the street after my family, Cruz Court. And you can check it out, 7187 Cruz Court in Lakeland, Florida. And then after that, I was a part of a huge assemblage of land, 22 acres to 63. I got bought out by my partner on that. Then after that, I was involved with Habitat for Humanity. I built their first modern home that they've had, and I helped them with other items as well on the development side. And then currently, I'm even working on a waste campus of 288 acres, 108 unit veteran housing community with 4,800 square feet of retail. And then I'm working on a rail project that we're doing a rail spur on 4 acres. It's so much more. I'm working also with another group that we have land that we're going to be transferring fuel distribution as well. So all these things I had no idea about before the separation and ultimately divorce. And then now I do. So I would just say it does get better, but you will have to go through some refinement. You are going to go through some fire before it gets easier. And that's fine. You're just going to have some amazing, epic stories that you're going to be able to share as you get older. You got this. All right. Bye.